don't want to be too obvious, but it was just so beautiful, like light. The sun lights it up, and yeah, the colours are just so different when there's sun coming through something.
I think it's just the transparency and the way it conducts light.
I love its inherent beauty, I guess. It has its own spirituality.
It's a funny medium that humans and pre-humans seem to have an affinity with this glassy substance.
You'd walk in a church and you'd look up and think, how on earth is this done? So over the years, you know, you get the books, you read, you ask, you talk to as many people as you can.
The whole process of this, coming from here to here, is what really excites me. It's just something that there's so many little steps in it to get you to where you get in the end, and then just how you want to showcase that, I suppose.
I've been working with glass, let me think, over 30 years or so. Also, I'm lucky my father's a painter, so I've been around art a lot of my life. And I guess we're just finding sort of a medium which I like to work with and suited me. And I like the dynamics of the glass, the transparency of the material. It's an awesome material working with light.
I think about life in a spiritual way sometimes, and I think glass is the most transcendental material that you can imagine, really.
It's a very good medium to work in. It's very entertaining, challenging, so you don't get bored easily.
I mean, I thought about being a carpenter at one point because I love craftsmanship and working with my hands. I find it very, very therapeutic.
I think the purity and the light and colour, really. I started off painting, and I guess I was always attracted to bold colour and line, and I found, that painting just couldn't quite capture what I was chasing, and glass seemed to be the medium that suited me most, really.
The idea of working with a material that comes from the earth as well, and starts off so raw and opalescent and then can become something so transparent. It's something that's quite magical.
When you're working on canvas or board, you're only working with reflected light. The ambient light in the room that will light it. When you're working with glass, the light is coming through your subject, so it's self-illumined. I love that quality about it.
You can work with it as a stone in this case, or you can work with it in a liquid kind of form. You can use it in slumping, softer form. So it has a good range of where you can slot your process in. The experimental stuff is in the hot shop. It's kind of taking these kiln-based techniques and putting them in a hot shop where the glass is different, so it reacts a bit differently. So I can kind of do sketches, if you like, and kind of little process tests of what would happen if we made this and made this, and then say put this back onto a pipe and started blowing the cities up, for example, and enlarging those and distorting those into bubbles instead of just voids, for example. That's not what you could do with this, but it's an example of where you could take something like this because it's glass, essentially.
So, going back to the UK, my father was a glass cutter. I remember one day he brought home a diamond-tipped glass cutter, and he had a calendar of some British birds. I'll never forget this. And he just put a piece of clear glass and he just scratched the feathers and lifted it up, and then all of a sudden, from nothing, there was this engraved panel.
So, basically that's what I've dedicated my life to, making glass. Quite an ancient skills. There's sort of, some of them are like over 2,000 years old with glass blowing. And I've been lucky sort of work, it's a real master apprenticeship system. So I've worked with people who've been working for over 70 years with glass and glass making, things like that. And it's a skill progression. You learn sort of one thing from the next thing to the next thing. So, like as you start off, you could have a certain level of difficulty what you can make, but then when you get more skilled, you can make more complex things. Also, it's a very much of a team-orientated material as well, so you have to work with a team of people. So again, a lot of this stuff we're making is like 2 or 3 of us working away on things to get the pieces right.
So many things. You can fuse it, melt it yourself, make new colours. It's up to your imagination what you do with it.
So another reason why I like working in glass, that we kind of live in vitreous environments, like with so much glass surrounding us. What you're talking from the microscope to your mobile phone to everything in your life. But most people just see it, glass as something they drink out of.
I feel like there's so many other reasons why I like glass. I think glass has the ability to convey emotions so well. I think that's something that that's going to be a career-long mission. But to be able to achieve the effect that stained glass windows in churches achieved, it's a pretty big aim, but my aim is to get that effect using more secular ideas. And then I think also my practice is it's a study in slow art and craft and the benefits of those to a person.
Even just making something like this, sort of, you have to be quite focused and just so you don't. It also helps pass the time. You have to be focused. The rest of the world disappears because you're working on almost in front of you. So, and you can make all kinds of shapes out of glass. So everything from functional tumblers through to sculpture and everything in between.
And also, it's dynamic because if it's in a building, the light is moving behind it throughout the day. So you get morning light, midday, afternoon light, and it'll change the nature of the image. You might have a distant tree, so you'll get dappled light across it, and it makes it a dynamic and living work of art.